Hello model car fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Revell, and this week I'm going to update you on a project here, my 67 Camaro SS from Revell here. This is the SS 396, and it's the standard Camaro, not the Rally Sport version, as depicted right on the box. And it's a great kit, and I'm kind of enjoying it, but I ran into a big problem, and I thought I can get past it, or that once I cleared it, it would be okay. And turns out that's not really the case, and I have never experienced something like this before. But if you remember my last video when I introduced this car, I had mentioned I painted it, and I used Scale Finishes paint. This is butternut yellow, which I love the color. It went on and it was really slow to dry. I mean, really jelly. A bit of a surprise because I use Scale Finishes all the time, but it's from the latest batch that I've purchased from them. And hearing from a few comments that he's now got a hardener out for these. So I got some of that hardener from him, but it was too late for this one. So I'm like, alright, I just let it sit, and after more than a month or so, let it dry and harden enough that I thought it was enough, I should say. And I'm like, alright, it's looking good, and I was pretty happy with it. But it was a little hard to get the decals on, but I got the decals on, and that's what my biggest issue is right now, is the decals. But started working on it some more after letting it the clear harden for a couple of weeks, and this is real automotive clear with a catalyst. So I mixed that up, and it's real nice and soft to the touch. I mean, it's interesting what's going on here. And then while I was brush painting the inside and blacking it all out and getting it all ready, while I'm holding it, you'll notice fingerprints. So if I bring this up to the camera, you can see a fingerprint depression right there. And I got another one, a couple of them back here. So they're in there. And while I can kind of rub them out and polish them out, but the more I handle it, the worse it gets. Plus I did have a wrinkle or two right here in the front decals. I was having a little trouble getting them to lay down. They just didn't want to settle. And then there's a real good fingerprint right there, so you can see it. There you go. And then I had another one right here in the door. And right here in the roof. But it seemed like everywhere I would handle it, if I touched it too long or held onto it too long or squeezed it too tight, the clear on top is hardened, but it was still kind of pushed through. And I've got some texture breakdown going on the roof here. So I'm like, it looks like I'm going to have to strip this. But the neat part is these things got really nice decals for the most part. And to my surprise, it's going to be a little difficult to get these decals. I'd love to find another set from Revell. May have to pick up another one of these kits, so I'll keep an eye out for them. But I decided to go through my decals. But interestingly enough, like here, I'll show you. Here's like this one, nice and smooth and paint there. I put my finger on it and squeeze, and lift. See the fingerprint now? All of a sudden there's a fingerprint. So it's not going to stop happening. So I've really got to strip it, even though it's clear to the touch. But if I push really hard, or if I start really pushing on it, so you can see there's none right there, nice and smooth, and then just squeeze, and then boom, there's a fingerprint. And it's not sticking to my finger. The clear is actually dry. It's the undercoat, the color coat. So I've never experienced something like this before. And I've painted a lot of models, as you can tell. So this is a new one for me. So I'm going to have to put this in the purple pond, as I like to call it. But the purple power, and strip the paint off of it, so it'll come off. But even if it rests in some areas, there's some flat spots because this happened to be sitting in the box face down. But I've been working on other parts of it, got a lot of the flat black done, semi-gloss black, and I'm going to start working on the motor. The intake's ready to paint, exhaust ready to paint, strip the chrome off of the brake rotors and the carburetor. So I got a lot of the rest of this stuff ready to paint. Even the motor's painted, ready to start going. Painted the transmission, the manual tranny, bell housing. So it's pretty much all ready. and then the exhaust. So been working on it. But what's interesting is I'm like, I know I got extra sets of 67 Camaro decals. So first set I dig out, here's some Fred Katie ones right here. Now it's got 67 and 68 stripes, and then the 68 stripes here, both in black and white, of course. Really nice decal sheet, and I've had these a long time. But I started to look really closely and notice here's the only Camaro one. It says Dana Camaro 427, and that's the only big block badge. It really doesn't have any of the badging. It's got SS here, and but none of the other ones, like on the real car, these Chevrolet Camaro ones, which 67 only say that, Chevrolet Camaro, if it'll focus on them. So it doesn't have those, and it doesn't have these at all, Camaro, and then the 396 badge, which is kind of funny. It doesn't have the cross flags, and these are actually really nice. The SS is kind of faint and hides really well under the yellow, but kind of have those, but they're not outlined. So I'm like, I know I've got other decals. That's another sheet. So here's a really rare set nowadays. The Last Detail. They made some really nice decals. And here's a 67 Camaro Z28 and SS. This is meant for the AMT kit, because these decals, I probably had these 10 years or more. Probably 15, because I picked up a whole bunch of them. I got some really nice reference pictures on where to put all the decals and everything. But same problem. I'm looking at the sheet here, and here I got the nose stripes, got the SS's, a lot of the different gauges here, the pinstripes is really nice, the air cleaner. Here's the small block ones that say 350 or 327, you can barely read them. Here's the big block cross flag ones, which are very faint, very hard to read, but they're there. But there's no Camaro or Chevrolet or anything. And you got two other substitutes. You got the SS 350 badge right here, air cleaner, and the SS ones that go on that. And since it's sliding around here, here's another sheet where we got more of the small block ones and big block ones printed, but this one's kind of misaligned. But still, no Camaro or no Chevrolet Camaro on the front and back or on the sides. So those are completely missing. So I was like, alright, now I really have to look. And I don't believe I got a photo etch set for 67, because those are different. I know I got a 68 set, but they are different between 67 and 68. 68, the Camaro's in cursive and not block letter like this. And then it says Camaro by Chevrolet on here, but in 67 it says Chevrolet and Camaro. So this is correct for 67. And these are actually nice decals. So I'd like to find another set of these. I've used Keith Mark's decals in the past. I think I'll end up buying a set of his, but they're $15 plus shipping. And then of course here's what's still left over from the Revell set, but I don't have another set of the actual emblems. So, you know, I could strip it and go with a different color and use the white nose stripe, but I still need all of the Camaro lettering and Chevrolet lettering for the trunk and the front. So going to be looking for those. So this is going to go into the pond and get stripped back to plastic and start all over. And I'll order the same paint, but now I'm going to add the hardener in it. That way I know it's the same paint, the same color. But yeah, it's kind of funny that, you know, here I'll do this. Just squeeze really hard, and then boom. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? That's just nuts. Never experienced that before. So even somebody who's built a lot of models run into different things or something, and it's kind of funny. And I know it's not the clear coat, because I actually cleared 4 bodies the same day with the same batch of paint, and this is the one that's doing it. But it's the base coat I was having troubles with before. I had the same thing going on with this, and it's like, alright, I let it dry longer, but got a little booger right here, and you know, had some of this texture appearing on the hood, so on the roof, and it's reappeared, because when I cleared it, it disappeared and it reappeared. So I'm not sure what's really going on there, but you know, nothing else is really damaged other than me having to get another set of decals. So I'm going to be looking for a set of those. So this one's going to be on hold for a little bit as I keep working on other ones. I got plenty to work on, and I was looking at my list, and I got 21 started kits that are 10 years old and older, and 36 total. This is one of them, so it's going to go back in my stalled pile, but I'll strip it, prime it, get some fresh paint, and start searching for some decals. But it may be a while before this one's updated. I will finish it. I'm always determined to finish kits that I started, and I'm pretty good about that, but holding myself more accountable with this channel. So I figure I'd give you an update on this, and you're probably not going to see it for a while, even though it's a box stock build. But these things happen, and try not to get discouraged. I'm a bit discouraged on it too, but it's like, alright, I'll keep my eye open. I don't have another one of these kits, but I'll keep my eye open for the decals or another one of these kits, as I'm not going to pay $70 for it on eBay, but maybe it'll sit and wait. But some things happen. I've got a Porsche, and it's funny because ModelZona show just happened. I've got a Tester's 85 Porsche 911 turbo kit, and it's not really one that I'd focus on my channel, but the story with that is I bought that over 10 years ago, water damaged, bad decals, and in 2011 I bought some 2012 I bought some generic Porsche decals. So I got some of the decals. I got the emblems and the turbo emblem on the back and the Porsche that goes across the taillight. I got all those. So what's funny is that ModelZona, one of the guys walks by. I'm talking to a friend of mine, James Tester, and we're talking YouTube and stuff, and he has a scale model experiment, so I'll bring him up. But somebody he knows, it's kind of in a club along with him that I'm not in that club, but walks by and they're talking about the Porsche, and he bought one of those kits, and it was nice. And I blatantly said, hey, if you're not going to use the kit decals, I'll give you $5 for them. And he picked up the kit for 15 bucks. And he was already talking about how he's not going to build his stock. So I'm like, alright. I just threw it out there, had no idea what was going to happen. And sure enough, he's like, you know what, that makes my kit like 10 bucks. So he hands me the kit to see if the decals are any good. So I opened it up, and the decals were nice. Gave him $5, and I finally got decals for that kit, and I can build it after all these years of kind of looking, but not aggressively looking, but couldn't find those decals. And if you're familiar with that kit, the decals are very nice and very detailed, so it'd be very hard to duplicate. So I was looking for the exact set, so I found that one, but now I got to look for decals for this one. But I have a lot of options. Keith Marks is one of them. Ray's Kit Decals, I believe, also has 67 Camaro. So I'll look at my options and keep my eye open, but I'm not going to race out and try and buy the decals tomorrow kind of thing. So it may take me months. Hopefully it doesn't take me years. Maybe the kit will get reissued. That kind of happens. That's kind of what happened with my Grand National and GNX builds. Revell released the kit, and I was able to get modern, better decals for my kits, and I built them. So this one's going to be put on hold for a little bit, so you guys know what's going on. And thank you for watching and subscribing and tuning in, and I appreciate all your comments and everything. And you guys, you have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll see you next weekend.